Oh my
Hello,
God.
everyone, and welcome to a not so action-packed episode.
Wait, are you recording?
Yeah,
Okay.
of Crept from the 90s.
Ah. Whew.
The ugly, redheaded stepchild of the 1980s, the 1990s.
People are loving these videos, man. They are pumped about the 90s.
Gross. So, we hope you have been enjoying the show so far. We've got 1990 Part 1 and Part 2.
Mhm.
Part 2 had just went up a couple days ago.
Well, when are you putting this out, I guess?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I
matter.
hope you guys enjoy it
Yeah.
and watch the series. We're gonna go on each year of the 90s, and it looks like these will be in parts, Part 1 and Part 2. So
all of it. Yeah.
natural chronological order. We're here for 1991. So yeah, and this will be Part 1, and we're gonna talk about more so the movies of 1991, and we'll talk a little bit about where we were as human beings in 1991. Because clearly, I mean, it was significant for both of us. One, because you were turning 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And I was turning 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 14 in 1991. Do you remember the times when you fell in love?
I mean, that album, which we'll talk about in probably the next episode, but I was thinking about this, like what did I do in 1991? Where was I in 10? I was in Olean and living my life. We had moved back from North Carolina, and this is the year I can remember, I guess, like 89 through 91 was like my real peak becoming a comic book fan. Really, like, I had them, Richie Rich, Little Hot Stuff, Archie. I had all that stuff as a kid for sure. And then, the occasional Spider-Man, Batman and stuff, and like whatever my uncle Calvin was into, like Fantastic Four and stuff. But I, and whenever Image comes out, I'm sure we'll spend even more time on if we start doing little 90s vignettes. But this is a big year for me getting into comics and really, going to the comic book store by myself, because you could do that back in the 90s and 80s. I could just ride my bike down there, and I don't know where I got money, chores or whatever, but yeah, I bought a lot of comic books back then, and that's really, we're going to talk about movies, so there was a lot of movies that I remember going to the theater and seeing by myself, or with my friends, but definitely comic books were the all the rage. I know you've got a lot of 91, man. This is it. This is your year.
Well, as far as comics go, I mean, I was reading comics, mid 80s up through that Marvel but all the ones you were talking about for sure. I actually remember going to our grandmother's house, and upstairs in that creepy room where they always put me, there were a lot of those comics. There were the Archie comics. There were Hot Stuff and all those, Casper, Wendy, the funky witch.
Yep. I think that is her
name. But yeah, I remember all that. But I definitely was, Marvel was king. Sure. Still hits in my book.
When did you get your Marvel jacket?
That was, I think, 93.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Cool. But we can talk about it.
we can talk.
It was pretty cool.
Well, I remember I'm still envious of that jacket. I remember seeing it had like Spider-Man and all this shit, and I was like, that is the greatest jacket ever.
It was Spider-Man on top of the Marvel logo,
Yeah.
embroidered on the back
Yeah.
of this amazing, sweet faux leather jacket.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was the meow.
Uh,
I loved it.
but so 1991 was significant for, you know, a big reason,
Yeah.
which we are celebrating this year. So 1991 was the year that I put like an actual name to the movies that I was making. And not only that, it was the first year where I started to actually like write things down and like, okay, this character says this, that, you know, assembling a script of some sort. It wasn't fully a script, but it was the first time really like sort of taking it semi-seriously.
Right.
Because before that, yeah, I shot a lot of stuff, you know, from 84 on, just backyard buffoonery, little Jason and Freddy movies with the cousins and neighborhood friends and stuff like that. And really it was still continuing like that, but I decided to put a name to it and take it seriously. And first it was called Seaver Torok Productions.
Oh, with Kyle.
This really was the first wave. This was hitting like Kyle and Brad Goff, Dave Rashim, you know, Jesse Green, Brad Jadwin, like all the guys were coming in, and even Mike Lannerman, who later became the drummer to the Swanky Modes, my ska band. But so Seaver Torok was like a few things, and this was like still editing inside the camera and duping back out to our VCR. So it had just the rudimentary letters that you poked in the camera that had the words on there and everything. Maybe I'll track some down to put them up in this, but probably not, because I think we'll, you know, there's a lot of LBP stuff coming up. But anyway, and then soon after that, I remember just typing in low budget pictures, you know, on the thing, and I was like, this is it. This is
A Star is Born.
This is what it's called. This is what we're gonna do. And that's what it stuck. And you know, my aunt had low budget pictures t-shirts made later, you know, and it just was the name.
That's cool.
And really that's when, like, you know, so like the Commando Kids and all those, the Bloody Bobbies and everything really started happening. And you know, LBP was born 30 years ago. So that was very significant. You know? And that group of people who I sort of pulled into the weird, wild world of making low budget movies in a very small town, you know, where I was considered the bad influence.
Well, you know.
Because I was making like horror movies. Like, what? You know, it was ridiculous. But we were like always dressing up and running around the town and shooting dumb skits and whatever, you know. It was very cool. It was a really crazy time, you know, 14 years old, and I'm gonna make movies for real. You know.
Well, most people say it and they don't do it, or they do it really shitty, and then they just stop after, you know, they grow up or whatever.
30 years on, it's debatable whether we're still doing shitty movies or not, you know.
Yeah, true. But there's people who like them, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, doing something right for somebody.
Exactly.
Precisely. So yeah, that was a significant thing. That was like the big.
Oh yeah.
The big thing. I also remember. I wrote like so Turtles 2 was coming out, which we will talk about, but Turtles 2 was coming out, and I wrote like a script for Turtles 3.
Yours is probably better, I'm sure.
Before Turtles 3 came out. And it was gonna be like the biggest thing we did, you know. We were gonna actually do it. That's why I started messing around with like the paper mache and stuff like that, and you know, making my own like heads and costumes and shit like that. And yeah,
you should still do it.
Yeah, and I was really like, you know, from the 80s on, I really, really loved Tom Savini. And then as, you know, becoming more a teenager, you know, I started caring more and more about the special effects and things that we were going to put in and things we were going to shoot. So I was really like diving headfirst into all the special effects people and reading up on them and, you know, anything that I could get my hands on about all of them. So yeah, I remember that being a big deal too. But yeah, I mean, you know, movies, man, making movies.
Hey, it's 30 years strong. I'm excited. Like, this is specifically a 91 thing, but I'm excited to talk more about 30 years of bullshittery, crafter pieces as they were.
Yeah, we'll definitely, we will do a
deep dive into all that
because of the anniversary and everything, and everybody getting together this year, and we'll try to make it fun for the fans on the channel as much as we can.
They're here for that.
Diving deep.
Yeah.
Into the history. So this part 1 of 1991, like I said, we're going to try to focus on the movies. And if we can get into a little of the TV shows, if not, that'll be in all part 2. Same with the music, video games, and for me, even some of the foods that came out and I was like hip about, really, really into, that no longer are here. So, it's interesting. There isn't as many movies that took me by by the short and curlies and said, "Look at, I'm here."
Yeah.
There's certainly some significant ones, but as far as quantity is concerned,
it's nowhere near. It's not the same as the 90s list.
No, it's not. But there's some gems.
There's some gems. Well, actually, there's a lot on here.
Why don't you? Well, maybe for you.
Yeah.
I was again. These are just movies that spoke to us, appealed to us, and to an extent, we still very much enjoy to this day, 30 years later.
So
why don't we start with you, Casey?
Yeah, I have it kind of. I'm going to try to stick to the ones that I enjoyed when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
Because there's plenty of movies that I love now that are from that time. So for right now, we can maybe run through those or whatever, and maybe we'll cross over when
this really is just my list.
Yeah.
Of what I like from 1991, then and now. That's
then and now? Okay, well, yeah, then and now. I will say Addams Family, the first one. This was one of those, like, I had watched the show a little bit. I was more of a Munsters dude, but
me too.
I knew enough to go, okay, I'll go see this movie. And I like weird, like I would like Tim Burton since I knew who Tim Burton was as a kid and everything. And it reminded me of that. So anyway, I remember loving this movie so much, the soundtrack, everything. I was like obsessed with how they did Cousin It. I was obsessed with how they did it. I was like, how the fuck did they,
No, that's isn't that
Thing? Cousin It's the hairy one then?
Yeah.
So Thing
Thing
then,
is the
yes.
hand.
I love that. So and my wife and I were 2 years ago, we dressed up as them.
Hammer.
Hammer. That was Addams Family 2, I think.
Oh, was it?
That song? Yeah. But anyway, I remember going to Burger King because they had special glasses from that movie when they used to do that. So I loved it, and I still enjoy both of them. I think that they are a little bit ahead of their time as far as like what they got away with comedy wise and special effects and stuff. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're not on my list. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It just didn't grab me.
Yeah.
I probably did go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
And then maybe rented it once, but it didn't grab a hold. I know Ralston made the cereal, the Addams Family cereal.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure I ate it.
Yeah, I don't know why. Especially because I was a little horror fan, so I don't know. But it probably was like the monsters are better.
They were.
Which is very interesting that they never did a month. Well, they did, which
they did.
I have their movies, but I mean a modern movie of the monsters.
I don't know if there's something with the rights now. I guess it would have to be now from. I don't know. I mean, no, they're all with Universal, so why wouldn't they be able to do it? That is weird. Someday.
Okay. So this is a significant film. I did not go see it in the theater because while back then I certainly could go see whatever the hell I wanted to, this movie, like everyone was telling me, Chris, you're not going to this movie. Even with an adult.
Okay.
So I didn't see it until it came out on VHS. But Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. That was my first. That was my top thing on this list.
Yeah, it's when I saw it then, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's a good movie.
Yep.
It's one of those. It's a movie that even back then, or certainly back then, didn't hit me as much as the more outrageous horror that was extremely prominent in the 80s and 90s that I fucking loved. This was more real, and I think it's why like everybody didn't want me to go see it, because like this can happen.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas Freddy's not going to jump out.
Right.
Dreams.
Yeah. I can see that.
So I think probably when I saw it, I was probably just like, ooh, like, oh, so I would have scenarios of like thinking of like who in the neighborhood would be evil like this, But yeah, I mean, just in culture,
yeah,
a very significant film.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that's up there. I know that we're going to get a lot of crossover here with certain things, and there's other movies I know that you're absolutely going to hate.
Okay, so this is what you enjoyed.
I'm going to say, even though you'll hate it, is If Looks Could Kill. This was that
Richard Grieco?
Yeah, it was like
I did rent it.
I watched it because it was on TBS or TNT or whatever a lot, and I'm a huge James Bond fan, And I remember going, this is like, a kid version of James Bond. I can dig this. So I always love that movie. It's horrible. Richard
The
Greco's
reason
horrible, but I love
I
it.
don't like him. I
Yeah,
never liked him.
yeah, I get it.
When he came on 21 Jump Street and sort of took the place of Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
it was over for me. I was like, all right, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I just did not like
Oh, I get it.
him
Yeah.
as a character actor or anything like that. So regardless of the premise and the adventure of that movie,
Yeah.
I know I saw it once. Definitely, I rented the movie once.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, no.
Hey man, it's yeah.
So here's one that is interesting because it got like a lot of attention back then, but it tanked. Like it didn't do well, and ultimately everyone ended up hating the movie. And I think to this day there's still people who just loathe the movie, but it has a cult following. But for me, it's weird enough, gross enough, and odd enough that back then I really liked it, and to this day I think I really like it, but I haven't seen it in a while. So I don't know if I know I was really gaga for it then, but it's Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, the Dan Aykroyd movie?
Yeah.
I will say I've
Demi
never
Moore.
seen it. Never seen that movie.
You've never seen it?
It's one of those movies where I remember as a kid going, this looks weird. Like these are Ghostbusters and Three Amigos. Like, why do they look like this? Like I remember being like weirded out, grossed out, and I never watched it.
It's a funky movie.
Really?
It's really weird. Lots of great special effects and makeup and shit like that. And this is when Same Song by Digital Underground.
Oh, really?
It's in the movie, and they're in the movie. Digital Underground is in the movie.
Yeah.
So being a fan of Sex Packets, I was just like, Digital Underground is in this movie with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd, and there was a music video that was on MTV for it, and Dan Aykroyd's in the music video.
I do remember that music video.
Yeah, and it was just so weird and really heavily hyped, and then it like tanked.
It died. Oh yeah.
Nobody liked it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was right up my alley. It was weird enough for me to really enjoy it. So Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah.
I would love to see it now. With my
with your
mid 40 eyes.
Angel eyes.
See if I still enjoy it.
Well, I'm sure most of these movies that are on my list, I will not enjoy it if I were to watch it again. So I just don't.
Some of these, for sure, no.
Yeah. I really loved this movie. At the time, I went and saw it. I didn't see it in the theater, but there was this thing on Saturdays for kids, teenage boys, where you could go to the high school, and I wasn't in high school then. You could watch a movie and eat pizza. And it was like kind of like a boys and girls club type of situation. And I saw the movie there, and it was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
That's on my list.
I loved that movie. I had the toys. I had the fucking Bryan Adams, which is on my music list. Like, I loved that movie so much, and I haven't seen it probably since then. I mean, a really, really long time. That would be one I would want to rewatch and go, was it good? Because all I can think of now is Men in Tights and how much it made fun of it. So I don't know.
So I did go see it, and I went to see it with a girlfriend.
I got super laid.
I mean, that music, come on, like,
That's what I'm saying.
It was so romantic.
I know.
So I did like the movie then.
Yeah.
And it was big, big. Funny enough, I didn't get any of the toys from Kenner.
Yeah. Those reprints.
the redos of some of the Star Wars toys. But the song was everywhere.
Yeah.
And the movie was cool. Katie and I watched it probably 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it probably since the 90s.
That's what I'm saying.
And for me, it sucked.
Okay.
Like, it was bad. I did not like it. It did not hold up.
Yeah.
But it was a significant release, you know?
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was pretty much everywhere. Alan Rickman is giving a fantastic performance.
Yep.
Because he's good in everything, pretty much. But he's probably the best thing about the movie.
My seed has come. She's invaded.
I want to talk about Prince of Thieves.
She loves Prince of Thieves. All right, what's next?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze.
Oh yeah. You know, to this day, one of the most significant films of our time.
People, now this was awesome. However, as a 14-year-old, I remember I was a little disappointed.
Because of like the dance scene and stuff, like that.
It was just the tone was so different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, and then I remember, you know, Entertainment Tonight, because I watched Entertainment Tonight all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
But I remember them mentioning, you know, parents and mothers complained about the first movie, and the first movie was a huge hit. It was the first like $100 million
comic book
thing for New Line Cinema. Like
for New Line. Okay.
You know, it exploded. And so they complained, and they made part 2 more like the cartoon, more kid friendly.
Yeah, for sure. Ernie Reyes Jr.
Yeah, I like Ernie Reyes Jr. He's in a lot of sweet shit.
He is.
I love. Last Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Red Sun. But it was still big because of the huge success of the first movie. And if anything, more and more kids were able to go see it because it was so kid friendly. But while I enjoy it to an extent now, and the Jim Henson animatronics and puppetry got better in that year that they didn't shoot the first, you know, since shooting the first movie. So watching the animatronics in part 2 is very fascinating and really exciting. It's not, you know, I don't think it's the best film. One is a classic. One blows it out of the water. But that's just me, you know. That's and that was me at 14. But what I did was I definitely like really studied those suits.
Oh yeah, for yours.
When I was making my turtles.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where, I mean, again, I was 10 at the time, right? So of course it blew my mind because the first one's so dark, definitely darker, of course. So now as an adult, I see it and I'm like, this movie's pretty fucking dark, the first one. And it definitely is a lot more heartfelt and stuff. But the second one for me as a kid was like, oh, right, boom, pow, like punch, kick, Technotronic soundtrack. I had that, you know, that's on my music list. I love the music from this movie so much. I played that tape out.
Down with the ninja rap.
Oh, yeah. TURTLE Power.
Well, that's the first soundtrack.
Is that the first soundtrack?
Yeah.
So Go Ninja is obviously part 2. Yeah. Yeah, I love both the soundtracks, and I definitely watched Turtles 2 more times than I can count.
Turtles 2, that's where I was telling you I got the VHS of the making of Turtles 2.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
I need that.
It's so good. You can find it online, but it's so good. So yeah, Turtles 2.
Okay. I'm just gonna, because we could be here literally all night talking about shitty movies. So I'll talk about. I don't know if this one's on your list, but Highlander 2, The Quickening. You know why? I liked Highlander. I liked Highlander 2, but when I saw the director's cut, like when they really did Snyder cut it up, and it's a better movie. It's a kick-ass Highlander movie. And I was deep into Highlander lore during the 90s with the show and the movies and everything. So I fucking loved it. And of course, being a James Bond fan with what's his name, Sean Connery in it, I really, really love that movie. And I still like it. I like it more probably now with the director's cut. I like it probably more now.
It's funny, as an adult, I don't like any of the Highlander.
I know you don't.
None of them.
Yeah.
I think the best thing to come out of Highlander is Queen.
Really? That song?
The song, yeah.
Not Christopher Lambert.
Maybe years ago.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I watched them again and I was like, oof.
Maybe I need a rewatch.
They're
but
just
I like
boring and bland. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this was significant because it really it churned the children, and I was squirting 24/7 because of this.
I know what this
but career opportunities. I mean, this was probably the first movie that I went to because of an actress in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't do that. I don't go to see movies just because so-and-so is in a movie. I just don't.
Right.
But this was, I was 14. The hormones are raging. And seeing Jennifer Connelly like that, it was like, oh, my goodness. Certainly the fact that John Hughes wrote it helped.
Right.
And then after seeing it, I was like, oh, this is a great movie. Because it is. I love Career Opportunities to this day.
Yeah.
And finally, it's coming out on Blu-ray. Finally. I'm so excited about it. So I get
a whole new behind-the-scenes documentary.
HD.
Double D.
Jenny C. With them double D's.
That's cool.
But I loved the movie, and then when it came out on video, I duped it immediately. I taped it.
Yeah.
From the video, and I had my own copy, and I watched that thing so many times for so many reasons. But it's very funny. It is very funny. Do you know the last time you saw it?
93. I mean, really. I haven't watched it in forever.
No, it's good. It is really good. It's very
I need to
funny.
go down we should go down a John Hughes thing. I don't think we've done a John Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, there's some John Hughes movies that I am just never going to watch ever again.
Curly Sue.
Curly Sue.
Maybe we did do one for
Dutch.
Oh, I loved Dutch when I was. I still like Ed O'Neill. I know you don't give a shit about that guy, but I watched Married with Children on.
Married with Children just did not appeal to me.
I know.
I thought
Married with Children was like Roseanne to me.
Yeah, see, I'd prefer Roseanne because Married with Children was just so slimy and.
That's what I felt like with Roseanne.
Gross and I don't know.
Or Grace Under Fire.
The Bundys were just no thanks. So yeah, career opportunities.
Career opportunities good. All right. I'll just say it. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yeah, it's on here. That's a theater experience that I guess I'll save until we do the best theater experiences.
Oh, okay.
This was a real winner as far as theaters go, and I saw it in Olean.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then it definitely was probably a better theater. Which theater? Because at that time it's probably like the Palace and I guess the one in the mall.
Yeah, but see, I remember it being bigger than the one in the mall.
Maybe it was the Palace then. It was like on Main Street
It
there.
wasn't the Palace. Maybe I'm just getting it wrong. But it might have been the one next to Hills. I just remember the crowd. I remember the crowd.
Yeah.
And that was a very fun feeling. But of course, Terminator 2, blew everybody's mind.
Still, I love the special effects in that movie. I still think they hold up.
I think Terminator 2 is good. But I
definitely Terminator is better.
I love the first Terminator more.
It is. Again, that was one of those at the time with younger eyes.
At the time,
shook you to your core.
Terminator 2 like blew it out of the water.
Yeah, of course. Soundtrack alone. Soundtrack was bitchin'.
Well, Use Your Illusion is on my Guns N' Roses.
It's on the list.
On my music list.
Yeah, it was a great soundtrack. But which we'll talk about in TV shows, we had Budnick.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it was great. It's a hell of a movie, man.
It is. I still love that movie for sure. All right, what's next?
I have Toy Soldiers.
No.
This was a rental for me because it wasn't playing anywhere near me at all.
Yeah.
Toy Soldiers stars Sean Astin, Will Wheaton, Keith Coogan, and they're at like a school. Yeah, Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
And Andrew Divoff plays like a terrorist, and he takes over this high priority school, because of. I'm not going to go into the plot, but
good, because I still have never seen this movie.
Really?
I've never seen Toy Soldiers or War Games or Lady Hawk. It's weird, like these weird fucking. Great. I know, like there's these certain '80s movies where I can see the cover, and I was like, I should get this, and I just never did as a kid. So weird. And I love Sean Astin at that time.
I think you'll really dig Toy Soldiers.
I'm sure I will. Yeah. Very weird. I haven't seen it.
So I loved it when I saw it on VHS.
Yeah.
I love it to this day. I own it on Blu-ray. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Toy Soldiers is good. It's a timeless story that holds up.
I'm sending a reminder to get it tomorrow. Shit, man. Okay. This is a movie at the time I was pretty obsessed with. I have not watched it recently, but I'm sure I probably at least like some of it, which was The Rocketeer.
Oh, The Rocketeer is on my list.
Yeah, I definitely as a kid, and I remember watching it in school even. It was pretty big then. And it was funny because like I didn't quite understand pulp comics so much. You know what I mean? Like that era, I was so used to Spider-Man and the Avengers and everyone else that I thought it was like such a weird but cool idea. And I like Joe Johnston, but now I haven't seen it in so long that I don't know if I'll like it as much.
I think it still holds up. It's a great adventure movie.
Yeah.
I did see it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters for sure.
Because it was dope as hell. It looked dope, and of course it had Jennifer Connelly looking
dope as hell.
stunning in that movie. But it's got the adventure, it's got the heroism, and it's a
Is
really
that Disney movie?
Yeah.
All right, so I can just watch it on Disney Plus.
Yep, it's on there.
Cool.
In good quality too.
I'm sure.
So yeah, that's on my list too. Rocketeer. It was dope.
Man, I gotta watch that again. Good.
Now this is a movie that now I hate, but back then, 14-year-old Chris watched it 2 times in the theater.
I bet you I know what this movie is, but go on.
It's called Hudson Hawk.
No, not that movie. Is that like James Belushi or
No, it's fucking
who's in that?
It's it's fucking Bruce Willis.
Oh no.
Bruce Willis and Danny Aiello. And he's a thief. He's like an art thief. But I saw it twice in theaters, both times by myself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I just thought it was so cool. And when it came out on VHS, I duped it and I made my own cover.
And you watched it recently and it's like horrible,
yes,
right?
I got the Blu-ray because Mill Creek put out a Blu-ray of Hudson Hawk. So I was like, well, I gotta get it. And then I watched it and I was it did not hold up at all. Like, and I think I got rid of the Blu-ray already, you know, like, yeah, no thanks. No Hudson Hawk for me.
Nah, man. That would not have been my thing. What would have been my thing, and I know it's on both of our lists, which is Hot Shots.
It is.
Absolutely love both of them. That's it. You know, it just fit. You know, it's our fucking sense of humor for sure. Like the stupidity and the sight gags, and you know, I have Naked Gun 2 on here. I don't like Naked Gun 2 as much as I liked the Hot Shots movie.
Yeah, Hot Shots is better than Naked Gun 2.
Yeah. But Hot Shots was.
But I still love Naked Gun 2. Like,
I just don't think it was. Yeah, I didn't like it as much. Not that it's not a good movie.
The same year gave us, you know, Zucker Abrams magic, and I loved them both.
Yeah.
And I saw them both. I saw both of them with Kyle.
Of course, that makes sense.
And then we instantly were quoting them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the shit ended up in our movies.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that's a hell of a 1-2.
Yeah, it is.
Punch for spoof movies.
I wish they would do another spoof movie someday.
Yeah, me too. They're still alive. You know?
All right. It's your go.
Well, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. This was huge for me. Huge Bill and Ted fan. You know, we've talked about it. I have a Bill and Ted video down on the channel, specific Bill and Ted video, and my history with it, and seeing it in theaters with my mom, and then with our history/science class taking us to it. The original movie. But I just love Bill and Ted. So when Bill and Ted Bogus Journey came out, I was all over it. And, you know, making backyard videos as Bill and Ted with friends. Actually,
I remember that.
I have pictures of at our grandma's house where I was trying to get Lisa and Brian to play Bill and Ted with me. And like act out scenes and stuff like that. And I have pictures of us of doing it.
That's cool.
But like the first one, I got the soundtrack.
Yep.
It was like it just was a big deal. And my sensibilities being what they were, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was crazy. Like I just thought like, this is it. This is the movie. This was made for me.
Yeah.
It was so bonkers, so weird. Nothing like the first one, which was great. And so back then, I loved Bogus Journey
Way more.
Excellent Adventure.
Yep.
Now, no. I think Excellent Adventure is a fucking classic, and it's brilliant. And I like Bogus Journey, but it doesn't hold up as much as Excellent Adventure for me.
Yeah, I had the book, the novelization of Bogus Journey, and I had the soundtrack, and I wore the VHS out. That was a theater experience.
It definitely was for me. And the soundtrack was the first time that I had heard Primus.
Oh, really?
And so I got the cassette of Sailing the Seas of Cheese, which we'll talk about in the music section, that summer.
Yeah.
Because of Tommy the Cat on the Bill and Ted soundtrack. And Sailing the Seas of Cheese came out that summer.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge I mean, I don't know if it was huge back then, but it was huge as a kid for sure.
Well, fucking Kiss, God Gave Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
I mean, that song was everywhere.
Yeah. That is a great song.
So yeah, that's on the list.
I don't know if this is on your list. Hook.
It's on my list.
Okay. Again, this was already a Spielberg fan, Robin Williams fan, I guess a Peter Pan fan enough to know, I watched all the Disney shit, bought the book, like got the toys. I was a huge Hook fan. Huge Hook fan.
Yeah, that's another movie that I went to see twice.
Yeah.
And the second time I fell asleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was a very long movie.
Yeah.
And I just remember the second time I probably just, wasn't ready. I probably, knowing me, 14 years old, was staying up, till 3 a.m. and shit like that, and but because I loved it the first time enough to where I wanted to go see it again.
Yeah.
And I saw it, the first time I saw it was at the Arnott Mall.
Yeah.
In Ithaca. Or Corning or whatever it was. But that's the first time I saw it. But yeah, it's super awesome. The scope is crazy. It's imaginative. Good music.
Yep.
And I still love it to this day. And there's lots of people that just hate Hook.
Drew Struzan poster.
I think it's pretty dope. I own it.
Yeah, that was I think it was like a Christmas release, right?
See, that's
because it starts out like Christmas time.
Yeah, but I can't remember if it was a Christmas or summer release. I can't remember. It might have been like a November release, or could have been a summer release. But it's funny because like
December 11th.
Okay,
so yeah.
So there you go. Well, so Katie was arguing with me because I was like, Hook's a Christmas movie.
Oh, it starts out
and she's like, what do you mean? It is not. I go, it starts Christmas time. It's got the snow and it's, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe again, because I saw it around, Christmas, that I just equate it to that. But
good movie, man. John Williams again, of course. Dean Cundy on cinematography, really?
Keen Dundee.
Anyways, that's weird.
John Cuntley.
What's next?
I have Ernest Scared Stupid.
Of course, that's on there.
This, I've talked about this before, but this was the one where the girlfriend at the time wanted to make out during the movie, and I was like, I was probably a jerk because I was like,
sure you were.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is earnest.
Yeah.
Because the previous, I did have, I had a blast watching Ernest Goes to Jail with the homies. So this was like, I think this was like double dating or whatever. Because whoever went with me also had like a date with him.
Yeah.
But I just remember my girlfriend at the time just kept like kissing my cheek and wanting to turn my face. And I'm like laughing and, I'm getting into it. And I just remember getting so angry. Like, this is earnest. Like, I'm not making out. This is great. And I think I was probably pissed because she wasn't enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I have,
Stupid was fantastic.
It's an amazing movie. It's like, I don't ever, I'm sure something, but nothing comes to mind where I actually made out in a movie, because anytime I go to a movie, it's for a movie I want to see. So,
I remember the time, and I think I told you before, it was one time where I gave in.
Oh, really?
And that was to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Ooh.
I was like,
well, you should have made out during that movie. It's so shitty. Yeah.
It was so bad. So I was like, okay, let's go in the back. And we just made it out. It was so fucking terrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe if it was a movie I'd already seen, I would make out the second time or whatever. Anyway, but Ernest Scared Stupid for sure. I loved it. I watched it over and over and over again. Still watch it on a regular, Halloween-y basis, and still holds up. Makeup's great.
Hell yeah.
Soundtrack's great. Fucking hilarious.
Watch it every year. Huge Ernest fan.
So good.
What else you got?
Oh, right. Yeah, everything else is, looking at this list. Well, okay, a movie I absolutely did not like then, but love now, which would be Child's Play 3.
Yeah. Child's Play 3 came out then?
That's what it says. Hold on, let me double check.
Interesting.
I have two. Yeah, Child's Play 3. So
yeah, well, I didn't like it, so it wasn't on my list.
That's the movie. Do you remember that scared me at Grandpa and Grandma's house? Was Child's Play 3?
Yeah.
Where, they're all in the basement. All the cousins are watching Child's Play 3, and it started, and I see him, as the dude's playing golf in the beginning, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Well, the golf thing, I believe that's 2, isn't it? I think that's 2.
Is it 2?
I think so.
I thought the beginning of 3 is, because 2 he gets melted. So the beginning of 3 is all of, getting put back together. And then I think he goes into that executive office as like the first one off of the assembly line.
Oh, maybe. I don't.
Anyway, I remember
shows you how much I've watched 3.
Yeah, I've watched it enough where I got scared. I went upstairs to the bathroom, and it was still like, I creeped down the stairs and it was still going on. And I was like, I'm going to bed. Like, I can't,
remember. I
can't watch this. Oh yeah. Well, I'm telling these guys, they weren't there. So, but now I love all the Chucky movies with the exception of 5, which is fucking horrible, right?
Seed of Chucky is pretty terrible.
5, yeah. So yeah. It's on my list. Will Wheaton, man, he's everywhere.
Will Wheaton, he wasn't in that movie.
Who's Andy?
Is Justin Wayland or something like that?
Oh, well, who the fuck am I thinking of?
So.
Yeah, you're right. Gross. He looks like Will be in there.
This one was big. It was big at the time.
Okay.
Freddy's Dead.
That was 91?
The Final Nightmare.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Shit.
So, it was very special because my mom took me to see Nightmare on Elm Street 1 in 1984, and my mom went with me to see Freddy's Dead in 1991. And other than Batman 89, this was the first time that I had seen lines around the block to get into the movie.
It grossed $34 million.
Yeah, but for a Freddy movie,
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
But
it's just
that was
funny.
huge, and it was like a 11 o'clock show or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and we were all lined up, and the energy was great, and it was fun. And they had a dude come out, and he was giving everybody the 3D glasses.
Yep.
And so this was for me, this was like, I had never seen 3D either in a big movie theater.
Yep.
And it actually worked. Like, it was coming out, even with the shitty, red and blue, red and green, or whatever it was still coming out at you. And everyone was like shrieking and jumping and like covering, because everything was coming out. So there was lots of laughter and clapping, and it was a great, great movie going experience. And I loved it. And I remember for my birthday, when the VHS came out, I had a Freddy party, and we did all the nightmares up till then at this Freddy party, and it was a great party. It was dope. It was really fun.
Man, do you still like this movie though?
No.
Okay.
No. I have seen it, several times as an adult.
Yeah.
And then when I just did the Freddy Fest that I did here in the theater and had all the people came for it, we watched it, and it's terrible. But I hadn't watched it in years because I knew already at that point, okay, Freddy's Dead is not for me anymore. Like, it just does not hold up, and I think it's pretty terrible.
What's funny is, like, I remember I definitely did not see this in the theater because I was too young, and my mom would never have let me do that. But I remember hearing about it from kids in school who apparently were allowed to watch it, and thinking about like how that would have been the coolest thing to see it in 3D. And then I remember watching it, loving it whenever it came out. I don't know if I saw it at like a party or whatever. And then I remember when I watched New Nightmare and hating that so much, and just thinking it was so stupid and just a dumb waste of time. And now watching New Nightmare, I think about I think about how much Scream took from that movie, and how he basically was like, we'll just use a bunch of this stuff. Nobody watched this Freddy movie. And it's a really fucking smart movie. I really think New Nightmare is extremely smart. But at the time, I thought quite the opposite of those two. That was a great one. I totally missed that one.
Yeah. I had the posters. I had soundtrack. I had everything Freddy's Dead. And
and then you burned it all.
Ugh.
I don't think it's horrible like you do, but I think it's like it's
pretty bad.
It's okay. This is a movie where I definitely saw it in the theater, and I was a kid, and I still think it's actually probably my favorite. It's Beauty and the Beast, and for me, it's up there for Disney animated movies as far as. It was real neck and neck between Lion King and that and Aladdin. So, and I liked the live action movie for some. I thought it was good.
Loved the live action movie.
But you don't like the animated movie?
I don't like
I know,
your
but
traditional typical Disney animated movies. And certainly, so when I was little, I totally did. Like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that was my fucking jam. I loved that movie.
Yeah.
And when I first started drawing when I was 4 years old, that's all I drew.
Right.
Was the dwarves. But once the Renaissance happened with all the crazy new animated Disney that was coming out and blowing up.
Yeah.
I just, my sister and her friends were all into it. So I knew things because I just couldn't get away from it. I couldn't get away from the music, from seeing everybody talking about it, hearing everybody talking about, like it was just like, oh my God. So I didn't give a shit. I didn't give, Little Mermaid, all that stuff. I think I have nostalgia for those primarily just because of how it was surrounding in the pop culture. But I could care less about seeing the movies. I think some of the music from some of those movies is actually really good. But when it comes to Beauty and the Beast, I like the story of Beauty and the Beast because it's not a Disney story.
Right.
None
of them are.
Yeah, like most of them, they're not Disney.
No, they're
not. Just an interpretation.
Yeah.
So I certainly love the Beauty and the Beast story, and I grew up watching
with a show.
Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton on Beauty and the Beast because my grandparents watched it, and I was like, "This is cool. This dude's a fucking lion,"
I watched that.
Yeah. So I like the story of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And certainly knowing the music and enough of what Disney did going into the live action movie, I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to come out of this liking it. And I did. Right. I was like, I was just like, this is fantastic. Like, what a tour de force. And I own it. We have it on Blu-ray. It's, it's a fucking great movie.
It's a good movie.
So, but yeah, the animated stuff, like Lion King, like all that, Aladdin, no thanks.
So good.
Not for me.
I just watched Aladdin, the new one.
Live action.
We loved it.
Yeah, Katie loved it, but I'm like, I don't need to see this.
Oh man, loved it.
I don't need to see this. So mine is pretty much over, other than these three that I'm going to talk about right now.
Yeah, say them because the other ones are shitty, and I don't really want to talk about them.
Okay. So this was again, Full Moon, Paramount Pictures, plopping out these movies every year, and three flicks that I love came out in 1991 from Full Moon. That's Doll Man.
Yep.
Tim Thomerson, Albert Pune directing. The Best Puppet Master, Puppet Master 3. Toulon's Revenge.
Jacques' Revenge.
And Subspecies.
What? See, that's not on this list. Did it go to theaters?
No.
Oh.
Well, these were direct to video.
Well, what's weird is on this list, Puppet Master 2 and 3 is on here. It's just like a Wikipedia list, but interesting. Well, anyway, yeah, I agree with those choices for sure. I don't love Full Moon as much as you do, but not in it's just because I don't. Your scale is way up here and mine is around here. So, of the Full Moon that I love, those are all on the list, and it's good shit, man.
They're great, and they look wonderful on Blu-ray.
Yep,
they really do. And Subspecies ended up being like one of my favorite series from Full Moon altogether. Like I
like them all.
The 1-2 punch of Subspecies 2 and 3 is fantastic. Really, they're so good.
No, I know. It's just, it's funny. I don't think about it as much. Like vampire movies. Yeah.
But Subspecies 5 is on hiatus because of the pandemic. but my buddy Anders is working on it.
Is he really? The
special effects.
Oh wow, shit. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Where are they shooting it though? Croatia or
I don't know. Well, I would hope
Czechoslovakia.
So that we get some sort of like production value.
Yeah,
because recent full moon is
right.
Poo. But
when's the last time Subspecies 4 was like?
That was like 90.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure, we'll talk about. It was late 90s.
Yeah.
I want to say. Shit. Is that the list?
That's my movie list. That's it. That's all I like.
Okay.
For one, man.
Yeah. Shoot, because I got to go at 8. So
yeah,
and my TV list is too long to get into.
Yeah, we can't mind. Yeah.
Because TV was king for me.
We'll have to do everything with the next video.
Yeah.
Have more time.
We'll make it chunky. No, this is good though. You're right. I guess like even the ones that we really like, I would say probably as far as like visiting like on a regular basis, it's probably like Ernest, Terminator, Turtles.
For me, Bogus Journey.
Burgess Journey.
But looking at it again,
there's some hitters.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't watch, some of these. What's funny though is just recently, Katie and I watched the 2 Hot Shots and the 3 Naked Gun movies.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because we have them on.
I saw your Hot Shots thing. Picture or whatever. I didn't see Naked Gun, but that's cool.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
But yeah, I and I'm looking forward to career opportunities on Blu-ray, and I would love to watch Toy Soldiers with you.
We could do it, man. Yeah, when sometime. I guess I could just sit next to you with a mask. But yeah, I would like to watch that again. Or for the first time. Again for the first time.
And I want to rewatch Nothing But Trouble just to see what I would think now.
Either you're going to think it's better or it's horrible. Like you're either going to go, wow, the special effects are great, but this is really shitty, or it's, well, that was now I know why no one watched.
Yeah.
Very weird and not cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, as usual, let us know your favorites of the 91 era. And if you
what was your 91 like, folks?
Was it some of the shit I didn't say, like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead? Is that on your list? Or City Slickers?
Ooh.
One of them I didn't say, though, real quick, People Under the Stairs. It doesn't necessarily hold up, but
that was 91.
It says so.
Huh. Because I do like People Under the Stairs.
I like that movie. Yeah. It's just I haven't watched it in a long time, but it was one of those I shouldn't have saw it, and it was a party. I actually have a whole story about People Under the Stairs.
Okay.
But I don't want to get into it. It was a whole experience that weekend. So it has a special place in my heart.
It was a wild 10-year-old debauchery.
It was. I saw some sick shit. So when I saw my first dead body under the stairs,
you saw stuff that would make your shit turn white.
It was a wild time. But yeah, leave comments and let us know about that, and check out the other ones of 1990 if you haven't seen that. Check out the other videos, because I'm sure we've said a lot of shit you didn't understand as references to the other videos on the network.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many videos, guys. Please, if you like what you've seen, give the channel a shot. Watch some more of the videos. There's, I think, something for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Who's into any sort of pop culture.
Pretty much.
It's all here on the channel, so yeah, and if you liked it enough, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, so you get the videos. Let us know your thoughts. You know, you can give us a like if you want. If you liked it, great. If not, it's okay.
Give a like. Help those algorithms.
But other than that, so this was part 1 of 1991, 30 years ago. My goodness. So we'll see you on another episode of It Crept from the 90s. Look forward to part 2 of 1991.
Woo! Oh, yeah.
Bye, everyone.